Hello there, this is Cindy at cindybedesigns.com. Thank you for joining me today. We are doing three alternative cards to the March Paper Pumpkin 2024 that is called Memorable Meadows. And those are cards. This coordinates beautifully with the online exclusives of Garden Meadow Sweet Collection, which, I didn't get until I was done with all this, so I'm gonna wing it. So those are the cards that there's three cards that you can make from the kit. They all have wooden elements on them and fantastic colors. I did not use any of the wooden elements on our alternatives, but you'll be seeing them on future products coming up. And so I think that is like the last of our card or second to the last. But the colors and the patterns in here and the card bases that you get is just nothing short of fantastic. Of course, along with a garden green, little mini ink pad there that you see. So that's everything that you get in the kit. There's more alternatives to the side. And with the inside directions I'm going to be showing you, they're kind of like, well, they're like IKEA directions. It tells you exactly where to put the adhesive, what image to stamp, what things to punch out that are already have adhesive on the back, and stuff like that. So with this month, you get two stamp sets, and that's the image sheet for both of them. And if you go back to the Garden Meadow Suite collection in the online exclusives, same font that you'll see there over on the left with the script and then the print font as well. Beautiful flowers, everything like that. And this kit was so easy to work with. So for card number one, I have an A2 top folding Berry Burst card base, and I took one of the card bases from the kit and cut that down to 3 3/4 by 4 3/4, popping some snail on the back of that right now. And I'm going to adhere like more so towards the right center of the card, and all the measurements, everything that I cut the sizes down to, that'll be over on the blog post underneath this description here at cindybedesigns.com. So I pulled in a sentiment strip from the kit, and I have some Berry Burst ink there, and I'm just going to put on a quick impression of about You've Been on My Mind, more so towards the right of the banner that you see there, because I'm going to attach it to the card and then put that ribbon on eventually. And you want to clean the ink off the stamp immediately because it will stain, and this really minimizes that part of it. So I'm picking up the sentiment now, making sure everything's all right. And I'm going to heat dry that really quick because, like I said, red and blue are super fussy along with other colors. And when I'm working with it, I don't want to smear everything, the ink, on, that panel there, all over my fingers, the rest of the card. So now I'm just like kind of winging it how I want to put this together. And I'm going to put that flag banner sentiment atop of that vellum piece there from the kit right in the center. And I'm using my glass mat to do this and popping it down just like that. So I'm going to eventually put Stampin' Dimensionals on the back of that to adhere it. But right now I grabbed in that petal pink ribbon from the Zany Zoo Sweet collection and a stapler just to pop it on there. Something very, very casual. And this is where I'm putting the Stampin' Dimensionals on the back. And then I'm going to go ahead and pop that pretty much in the center of the cards, or of the card base there, and trim the ends with my paper snips, and then pop on 3 of the clear sequins from the card kit, and that's pretty much going to be that card. Very simple, very easy. I really didn't bring in anything outside of the kit but the ribbon. So for card number two, the only thing I brought in from the outside was the garden green ribbon there that carried over from Christmas last year, along with the fresh freesia mat and the gorgeous grape cardstock that we have there. And we're doing a landscape card this time around, A2, but 5.5 across by 4.25 down. And then the mat is fresh freesia, and that is going to be 4 by 5.25. And then the sentiment, or not the sentiment stress, but the card front that you see there with the pattern, I took a card front from the kit and cut those strips down, 3 of them, and watch how you cut them and the way that you cut them so they line up on that mat there. And those measure 1 3/8 by 5 3/8 all the way around. So I'm laying down the top one first and then the bottom one, second. And then the middle one third, just make sure I get everything spaced out evenly. And those are going down with liquid adhesive. So while I'm getting everything in here down, this month's Paper Pumpkin, along with the Garden Meadow Sweet Collection online exclusives, a third of our colors are featured in here. So everything's going to go, everything's going to match, and the possibilities are endless. And that's what we're looking like. So I'm like really trying to keep everything simple here when I do alternatives with the least amount of product. But if you want to see me take out of the box more, please let me know. So I'm doing that garden green ribbon there, using some very low tack tape to keep it down. I'm kind of happy with that arrangement right there. So I brought in another piece and I'm going to pull it all off and use one of our rectangle vellum pieces from the Paper Pumpkin kit. After I put down some snail adhesive there to lay down the ribbon, and again, use your grid mat or the glass mat that you have or your paper to get everything down, and I'm good with that. So I'm taking the paper snips and I'm going to cut it where I need it to, and that is what we are looking like. So next I'm going to bring in our silicone craft mat and one of the pre-die cut labels from the kit with garden green ink and a sentiment also from the kit, and stamp "Have a Beautiful Birthday" on there. And I'm gonna let that ink sink in just a little bit without having the stamp apparatus, to kind of go back and restamp if I have to. So I'm like waving that dry with my, tweezers there, and I'm gonna pop that onto a gorgeous crepe piece of vellum from the kit right there in the middle, and it fits perfectly with some liquid adhesive. Set that up, let it dry for a little while, come back around, and I'm going to put Stampin' initials on the back of that and adhere that like right over the ribbon as you see me do right now. Then to finish this card, I'm going to pop on 5 of those clear sequins there to finish it up. But for next week, I'm kind of thinking about doing something with a Latte Love Sweet collection to add on to our notebook. So for the third card, this is going to be a very simple fun fold. I have a Night of Navy card base that is 8.5 by 5.25, and you want to score at 2 3/4 over there on the left that you see, and then at 7 on the right. And I brought in another piece of the purple vellum along with the medium fancy cut die in that pattern. And this time around, we're going to be using the stamp set with the line art. Now you can color this, and I'm also bringing in Parakeet Party ribbon. Our colors are going to be Old Olive, Mossy Meadow, Balmy Blue, and Night of Navy. Now the Parakeet Party isn't anywhere in the Sweet Collection colors or the Paper Pumpkin, but it goes perfectly. So I am going to take the small flower line art image and some Native Navy ink and go ahead and just stamp that all the way around on the flap over on the right where you score it 2 3/4. And I'm using a piece of scratch paper there, grid sheet that you see just so the ink doesn't get where I don't want it to. And then eventually you'll see me kind of selectively inking up the stamp a little bit and then wiping part of the inked image off because I want to get this as dense as I can get it without too many repeat patterns and, still having that aesthetic factor in there. So I got all of that down. And this is where you see me just use my chamois to pull off that water, but I blotted it dry with my thumb sort of, so that way the water wouldn't transfer onto the paper and make a mess and not have to start all over again. And so that's what we're looking like. I'm going to be filling in a little bit more, but these are great line art images. And like I said earlier, the fonts in this paper pumpkin coordinate beautifully with the online exclusives of the Garden Meadows Suite collection. So that piece of cardstock right there is going to be, I want to say 1 3/8 by 5 3/8, but don't hold me to that. I will have measurements and everything over at cindybedesigns.com underneath that particular card. And that piece of cardstock there came from a leftover I had from cutting down the other cardstock to make the other alternatives. So for the inside of the card, I'm bringing in a piece of basic white cardstock, and that is cut to 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. I'm going to be inking up in Native Navy ink that really large line art image from the paper pumpkin kit, and I'm using the silicone mat kind of as like a little bounce, just a little bit of cushion, so to speak. Get my image down there straight, let the ink soak in for a minute or two. It doesn't hurt, cardstock is porous. So I'm getting that down. And I decided to bring in another ink color as well. And that's going to be for the stamens. And that's going to be Daffodil Light because I forgot about that. So I'm inking up those flowers. And this is two-step stamping. Or you can go ahead and use your Stampin' blends, markers, colored pencils, watercolors, whatever you want to, fill in this line art image. So that is Balmy Blue, and I'm pressing that down hard, and it turned out really well considering that was the first time I used that stamp, and I didn't treat it or anything by taking an eraser to it, just to kind of get the manufacturing goo off of it a little bit, for lack of a better term. So I'm bringing in Old Olive, and I will be stamping the leaves with that. And you can see how easy it is to line everything up. And don't let your block rock. I'm glad I got that straight. Like you just saw me do, because when you press down too hard on it, it might do that a little bit. So now I'm wiping everything off, and I'm going to be pulling in the Mossy Meadow ink for the stem image of the part of the leaves, to darken that up, give it some contrast. And then next I will do the pull back in Night of Navy and kind of accent those larger flowers a little bit, and then Daffodil Delight for the stamens. So while I'm getting all that down, if you want to subscribe to Paper Pumpkin, be sure to do it by the 10th of every month. Like for instance, this is March Kits. I had it, I get them monthly anyway. So I was signed up by the 10th, and I automatically get this within a week. And it's really that simple. It's recurring, very, very inexpensive, and super cost effective. So back to the Garden Meadow. You can see how beautifully all these colors coordinate with the paper pumpkin kit, and how everything goes, and then it brings in those wood elements on top of it. So for the paper pumpkin kit this month, there's 15 different colors in it. And then for Garden Meadow Suite Collection, that's part of our online exclusive, there's 17 colors in there. So you can really stretch this out. basically have three stamp sets now that coordinate with that, with the paper pumpkin, more elements, more colors that you can bring in, some die cuts, and some great images too on top of it, like those cute little boots. And then, a two-step fence, and very, very springy and very fun. And like I said, I really wish I would have remembered that when I was doing this, or else I would have brought that in. But maybe next time around. So back to our card. I put seal adhesive on the back and get that, laid down in there. And then I'm going to be bringing in some of our brass butterflies, just bling that up a little bit. And I'm leaving the inside blank because with the outside sentiment that we're using, it could be for any kind of occasion that you want. You could use a band, like make a band to open up that card so people can take that off and then the card opens up, or kind of do what I did, just like a little flat panel on the front there. So we are grabbing, it's the little things that matter, and that comes in the paper pumpkin. I'm inking that up with Night of Navy. And again, letting that sink in for a little bit while I close everything up. And then as soon as I pull that up, I am going to take my stamp chamois and clean that. Because I'm pretty sure I said this earlier about how red and blue are super fussy colors. And I don't like stained stamps too much. Once again, I'm pulling back in my heat tool on heat setting 1 just to dry that real quick because I don't want it smearing up. And then I'm going to take some liquid adhesive and glue that to our Highland Heather vellum piece that came in the kit. Getting some, low tack tape just to make sure I get it down right. And then that's going to be like the little flap that will go over our card so you can open it up. So I'm making sure all the glue is down there and sizing up where I want this to go. And I do so many little cheat things like we all do just so I don't mess up where I want to get my adhesive. Pulling a pencil real quick and just be very sloppy a little bit and mark the back of it so I know to put my Stampin' Dimensionals over on the other side of that line there. And that's just another visual cue of where I want to where I want to put down my adhesive so I can secure that Parakeet Party metallic ribbon, which will be retiring soon, so start using up that ribbon because that is an in color. So I'm tying that into a bow real quick, and I'm going to go ahead and pop that down on our card there. So once that gets down, I'm going to fray the edges down at the bottom, or the tails of the ribbon a little bit. And you want to make sure, like you just saw me do there, okay, how to get this down. And then I want to size up to where I want to put the Stampin' Dimensionals on the back of the little sentiment there, because I don't want to have a Stampin' Dimensional over a knot. So that's where you see me again kind of sizing everything up a little bit, how far I can go over. And then they're going to go like at the top and the bottom. And I'm using, yeah, it looks like full size there. And then I'm going to pull them off, put it on the front of the card there, and accent it with a large brass butterfly. But before we end here real quick, I do want to thank you for stopping by to visit me today. I will see you next week. Everything you need will be over on the blog at cindybdesigns.com, measurements, the whole 9 yards. Be sure to hit like and subscribe. I'm here every Wednesday around noon Central Time for a new video to share with you. So that is what we are looking like for our third card, and I'll be bringing back in the other ones. And again, super simple to make. I got these done, within a half hour or so. And again, thank you so much for joining me. I hope that you have a fantastic week, and I will see you again next week.